So what's up everyone, Jeremy here from MTG headquarters, doing what I do each time a new set comes out, doing the best I can to prepare you for the upcoming Khans of Tarkir pre-release. So we're going to follow the same theme as, choosing your banners, so to speak, and we're going to get right into it. I found one of the most interesting things about this set is some of the nice even distribution of the group. So when, for example, when RTR came out, Return to Ravnica, everyone kind of knew Selesnya was the bee's knees. Or when like Dragon's Maze came out, everyone played Orzhov, and so on and so forth. So with this one, I shot out a quick straw poll, and really it's incredibly distributed between Mardu, Timur, Jeskai, Abzan, and Sultai. As you can see, with about 250 votes, it's pretty even. I mean, Mardu and Timur seem as, I wouldn't call them runaway leaders in this, but they are slight leaders. So let me talk a little bit about abilities. I'm going to give you like a 30,000 foot view, and then I'll try to go into a little bit more detail. So the Abzan have Outlast cards. So basically it has like put a 1/1 counter on this creature, and you can only use it as a sorcery. Then Jeskai has Prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Sultai has Delve, which actually is an old Future Sight mechanic. You may exile any number of cards from your graveyard as you cast this spell. It costs 1 less to cast for each mana exiled in this way. Seems powerful. Mardu has Raid, which goes perfectly with its aggressive nature, where Raid gives advantageous effect if you attack with a creature in the same turn. And Timur has Ferocious, which gives a player an advantage if they control a creature with a power of 4 or greater when attacking with a ferocious creature. So let's go into a little bit more detail. So Outlast, this will give you a little detail around each clan as well. So the Abzan are all about endurance, and nothing prepares you for a long game better than growing your creatures over time. You can activate an Outlast ability during your main phase if the stack is empty, otherwise known as anytime you could cast a sorcery. So it's sorcery speed. Outlast abilities include taps, so a creature's Outlast ability can't be activated unless the creature has been under your control since the start of your turn. So it has summoning sickness, just like normal. When Outlast ability resolves, put a 1/1 counter on a creature. Several other cards in the set give bonuses to creatures with 1/1 counters on it, so it works great with Outlast, although any 1/1 counters will count. So there is synergies there with Outlast. Now we get into Prowess, where the Jeskai specialize in cunning and attacking in unexpected ways, so tricks. Prowess triggers whenever you cast a non-creature spell. When it resolves, the creature gets a 1/1 until end of turn, and it's any non-creature spell will work. Artifact spells, enchantment spells, even planeswalkers. So creature spells won't cause Prowess to trigger, obviously, even if those spells have other card types such as artifact creature spell. Instants work particularly well as they become combat tricks that boost your attacking or blocking creatures in addition to whatever they normally do. So maybe you have like a pump spell, or maybe you just have a card draw spell, but you use it as a pump spell. It provides some depth to otherwise pretty vanilla instant speed cards that maybe aren't pump spells. So it goes on the stack on top of the spell that caused it to trigger, meaning it will resolve first. Once Prowess is triggered, it doesn't matter what happens to the non-creature spells. If it gets countered, Prowess still resolves. Now let's talk about Delve, which I think could be one of the stronger mechanics here. If you're a little more advanced player, I mean, although it's not like super high level, spells with Delve are very powerful, but usually have a high mana cost. So fortunately, you don't need to pay it all. The Sultai's ruthlessness leads them to use every resource at their disposal, even the dead. So as you're paying for the spell, you can exile cards from your graveyard. Each card you exile will pays a single mana towards it. So if you're casting Shambling Attendants, you can pay X, or you can exile 4 cards from your graveyard. So it seems pretty good. The pictures didn't copy over, but you get the idea. If you have 7 cards in a graveyard, you can exile them and get 7 mana. Delve can't pay for any colored mana in the spell's mana cost. You can't exile more cards than the amount of colorless mana in the mana cost. So you couldn't exile more than 7 colorless when casting Shambling Attendants, if there's some reason you want to. So if you're going to play the Delve mechanic, you also might want to look at cards that mill, like Satyr Wayfinder and M15, things like that, self-mill, to get your fatties out quicker. Now we're bringing to Raid, which I think is probably the most relevant mechanic for pre-release, because aggro decks are generally a very strong choice for pre-release. So speed defines the Marduk's every action. So if you want to win with them, keep on the move and attack. Each raid ability is different, so read each carefully to determine what it does. Raid abilities care only that you've attacked with a creature. It doesn't matter how many creatures you attacked with. And it doesn't matter if those creatures attacked an opponent or an opposing planeswalker. Raid abilities won't mean much on your opponent's turn or before your combat phase, but your aggression is well rewarded. We've seen this with spells that like come into play and then duplicate themselves if you've attacked this turn. There's all sorts of fun shenanigans you can get with Raid, and if you can stack a couple creatures with Raid and really just getting a couple of them firing off at one time, it seems like you might be able to overwhelm your opponent pretty reasonably. Now let's get into the last clan-specific ability, and that is Ferocious. The Timur rely on savageries to survive. To survive Tarkir's brutal landscape. Each Ferocious ability is different, but they all rely in some way on controlling a creature with a power of 4 or greater. So, as you know it, a fatty. It doesn't matter how many creatures with the power of 4 or greater you control. For example, if Heir of the Wild attacks, its ability checks if you control a creature with a power of 4 or greater. If you do, it will trigger and go on the stack. Even if you control 10 such creatures, the ability only triggers once. As the ability tries to resolve, it'll check again. If you still control a creature with power 4 or greater, the ability resolve and give Heir of the Wilds a +1/+1 till end of turn. Ferocious seems okay, but I don't like cards that rely on another card, right? So keep that in mind, right? So if you don't have another creature of power 4 or greater, or if that creature isn't, then you're not getting anything every single turn you attack, so keep that in mind. Instants and sorceries with Ferocious abilities, check if you control a creature with power 4 or greater as they resolve. If the Ferocious ability says instead, that effect will replace some or all the normal effect of that instant sorcery. If it doesn't say instead, the effect of Ferocious ability happens in addition to the spell's normal effect. So there's Ferocious. So if you got all that, I pulled this straight from the Wizards website so I could go over it with you all. Now there's another ability that all creatures in Tarkir have, and that's Morph. So just so you understand a little bit, so all clans have access to Morph. So you can cast a creature spell with Morph face down whenever you normally could cast that card. Usually this means during your main phase, when the stack is empty. To do this, turn the card face down so no other player can see what it is. A face down creature spell is a 2/2 colorless creature spell with no name. No creature types, no abilities, and no mana cost. Instead of paying its mana cost, which it doesn't have. If the spell resolves, put the card face down on the battlefield, where it will have those same characteristics instead of its normal ones. You can always cast a creature card with Morph face up by paying its mana cost as normal. So it's, when you read it on the card, it may be intimidating, but really Morph gives you 2 ways to cast something, and it can give you diversity, just like, maybe not as powerful, but just like Bestow gives you options, Morph gives you options too, and I think why it's such a great ability. So let's get talking into a little bit about the specifics of pre-release. This is what I know so far. Obviously, just like usual, it's a sealed format. One of the big changes is that there are 40 promo rares, which sounds like 8 per clan, 1 per box. So according to Rosewater, each seeded pack will have 1 dated and stamped pre-release card. For each clan, there will be 8 different options, one of which will be the con. So there's a lot more randomness to your pre-release. So how does this change? So let's look at the last pre-release, like M15, or I mean, you could go back and see how 1 or 2 of the pre-release promo rares were just clearly better than the rest, you know, and it just really molds the way people play. Even if you don't want to, you've got to be aware of that. So things like what is that? Indulgent Tormentor, I think his name was. In M15, the 5/3 flyer is just clearly better than every other option. A couple pre-releases ago, a card like Dawnbringer Charioteers. I mean, my pre-releases ran out of white because that card is just so much stronger than everything else. I think that must have been Journey. Where now this one, I like the change. It gives you a little more freedom to just play the clan you want, not the clan that has the random promo rare that's really good. I mean, you could really dig in and figure out, you know, here are my 40 possibilities. Which clan has more, like, let's say one clan has 3 or 4 really good possibilities and another one has 2 and another one has 6. Maybe you choose a clan that has the overall stronger pool. If you're super technical, so you blue mages out there, if you want to run the math, that's one way to pick your clan, I suppose. But it certainly increases the variance, which I think is good, and we'll just kind of let it. I mean, if you really want to get your mind right for this event, think of it as a true sealed. I think with the randomness in what you get in your seeded pack, you don't have to fear taking a color that you like, even though it has a crappy promo. Like red has notoriously had giant red dragons that are like normally uncastable, you know, and things like that. So even though I like red, it's hard for me to take that color sometimes, because I also want to win. I mean, I'm a casual tryhard. So the one thing I can say is, you know, research spoilers as well early. So to tell which clan is strongest. So you can go out there. I've been posting spoilers to my Facebook page, facebook.com/MTG headquarters. There are other websites out there that you can get them a little bit quicker, but I like the discussion that we have on our Facebook page about them. But as a general clan, you may ask, like, hey, what clan are you going with, HQ? I'm not totally decided yet, but I'm 95% sure it will be one of the 2 aggressive clans, just because that's how you roll at pre-release. You know, I like the aggressive abilities. Control is always good, and there's some control-y clans here that I think you could choose from. But I think if you're a newer player and you want to value consistency, I think building a nice aggressive or mid-range deck is probably the best thing to do going into Cons of Tarkir pre-release. You know, to bring it all home, some important parting shots here is, first and foremost, to have fun. Okay, it's pre-release. If you've been following me for a while, and you know, as always, I will do a pre-release vlog, which it seems like a lot of you really like. I had a bad experience at one of my last pre-releases with some dude who thought it was like PTQ and getting like a little too aggressive. So, you know, don't be that guy. You're there to have fun and crack some packs, and that's what pre-release is really about. If you have questions, I'm fielding a lot more questions on my Twitter page. So you can follow me on Twitter at MTG Headquarters, and you can tweet me your cons questions with hashtag MTGKTK, and I'll be kind of following you between now, obviously following those questions between now and the pre-release. I'll be live tweeting during the pre-release, and we can interact, and that's always fun. Obviously subscribing to the channel, so any more primers that I put out for cons and any future releases will all be on here. But some other things is, as always, I recommend bringing snacks and drinks. You know, last couple times, a couple of buddies of mine had some adult beverages, and that was fun. But bringing water or whatever you like to drink is always good. I mean, even if your shop, if your shop sells stuff reasonably, then get it there, obviously. But you're there for many, many, many hours. So, you know, for me, it's 5 hours minimum to go to a pre-release. I know some of you is even longer if you do a top 8 and all that stuff. So you need to plan ahead. Bring some snacks, bring some money or something if you can. Bring sleeves, dice, score pad. So I normally roll with like everything in one deck box. So I have like a couple different dice. I have a pen, and I have my sleeves. Take a shower, put on some deodorant, and don't be a jerk. And I think if you follow these kind of pre-release plans, you know, I look forward to hearing what clan you guys are going to roll with down in the comment section down below. I think if I had to pick one, I may be Mardu. I'm not sure yet, though. So tell me what clan you're going to roll with down below, and tweet me at MTG headquarters with hashtag MTGKTK. Let me know what clan you're rolling with. Send your questions my way. I hope this helped prepare you for pre-release. We'll talk to you again real soon. I really hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, check out some of our most popular playlists, from MTG vlogs, sick gameplay videos, new product breaks, and some insane vintage openings. I upload 3 to 4 new Magic the Gathering videos every week, so if you haven't already, please take a moment to crush that subscribe button to join one of the fastest growing Magic the Gathering channels on YouTube. Talk to you later.